brought to you by Soundlibra.com. You can find a direct link to our full library in the description of this audio, or visit us anytime at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to Teach Kids Emotional Regulation. I'm Alex.
And I'm Lisa. We're so happy to have you join us. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. While we're sharing helpful strategies, this isn't medical or professional mental health advice, so be sure to consult with a professional for your specific needs.
That's an important note. Today, we're launching our series on teaching children how to manage their feelings.
Our emotions are a huge part of who we are, and learning to understand and handle them is like giving kids a superpower for life.
It really is a superpower. This emotional toolkit isn't something kids are born with. It's something they learn and build with our help. It's a set of skills and ideas they use to get through tough moments.
So, it's about giving them actual tools for handling emotions, not just telling them what to do. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. This toolkit grows over time. We'll be sharing all the pieces over the next 11 episodes.
I'm really looking forward to it. What can listeners expect in the upcoming episodes?
In episode 2, Decoding the Big Feelings, we'll look at common emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, and fear. We'll focus on helping children learn to recognize and name these powerful feelings.
Being able to name a feeling is so important. Even for us as adults, saying how we feel is often the first step to dealing with it.
That's right. Then, in episode 3, The Emotion Thermometer, Visualizing Feelings, we'll explore a fun way to show how strong a feeling is. Imagine a thermometer for emotions.
I love that idea. Kids respond so well to visual things.
They do. In episode 4, Calming the Storm, Breathwork for Kids, we'll share some simple and fun breathing exercises that can help kids calm down.
Breathing exercises are incredibly powerful. Teaching those skills early on could make a huge difference.
It certainly could. Episode 5 is Creating a Safe Haven, the Cozy Corner. This is all about setting up a comforting place where children can process their emotions.
Having a special, calm spot acknowledges that sometimes kids need to step away and collect themselves. What a lovely idea.
And to help guide them, Episode 6, Emotion Coaching, Being Your Child's Guide, will show us how to work with children to understand and react to their feelings in a healthy way.
So, we're teaching them how to cope and heal on their own, not just fixing problems for them.
Exactly, because a child's actions often tell us what's going on inside. Episode 7, Understanding the Why Behind Behavior, will explore what a child's actions can reveal about their inner world.
Understanding the real reason behind the behavior is key to helping them effectively.
It truly is. Episode 8, Navigating School Day Challenges, will offer practical ways to handle the specific difficulties that come up at school.
School brings its own set of social and academic pressures. Having specific tools for these situations will be so helpful.
Definitely. And for many families, how siblings interact is a big piece of the puzzle. Episode 9, Sibling Super Strategies, Peace in the Playroom, will provide ways to make interactions between brothers and sisters smoother.
I bet many parents will find that episode especially useful for dealing with conflicts at home.
It's a very common area where parents seek support. Episode 10 is Building Resilience, Bouncing Back Stronger, and it's about helping children develop the inner strength to get through tough times.
Resilience is such a vital life skill. Helping kids see challenges as chances to learn is so important for their development.
Absolutely. In episode 11, Self-Talk, The Inner Voice Matters, we'll discuss how to help children develop positive inner messages for themselves.
What we tell ourselves has a huge impact. Teaching kids to be kind to themselves with their own thoughts is very powerful.
It really is. And finally, in episode 12, Putting it all together, your family's emotional toolkit, we will bring together all the strategies we've discussed into one cohesive plan for your family.
This series sounds like it will be incredibly thorough and valuable. giving parents the practical tools they need to help their children feel emotionally healthy.
Our main goal is to help you guide your children to a place where they can truly thrive. Emotional understanding is the foundation for a happy and fulfilling life.
Remember, building this emotional toolkit is an ongoing journey, and we're here to support you with practical advice every step of the way.
Join us next time as we begin to decode those big feelings. Next episode, Decoding the Big Feelings. Welcome back. Last time, we introduced the emotional toolkit. Now let's decode big feelings.
Right, Alex? In episode 1, we talked about how crucial it is for kids to have this emotional toolkit. But what does that look like in practice? It starts with understanding and naming the feelings themselves, doesn't it?
Exactly, Lisa. Think of it like this. If a child can't name what they're feeling, how can they possibly manage it? It's like trying to fix a leaky faucet by banging on the pipes. Utterly frustrating and ineffective. We want to give them the words, the descriptions, the flashlight to shine on those emotions.
So, it's about building their emotional vocabulary. Instead of just saying, I'm unhappy, they can learn to say, I'm feeling frustrated because my tower fell down, or I'm feeling sad because my friend left.
Precisely. And this is where the concept of big feelings and small feelings comes in. It's not about labeling feelings as good or bad, but rather acknowledging their intensity. A small feeling might be mild irritation, like a little itch. A big feeling might be intense anger or deep sadness, something that feels overwhelming, like a tidal wave.
I like that analogy, Alex. The itch versus the tidal wave. It helps parents understand that not every upset needs the same level of intervention. So, when a child is experiencing one of these big feelings, what's the first step for the parent?
Curiosity. Approach it with curiosity, not judgment. Instead of saying, stop crying, it's not a big deal, or you're acting out, try getting down on their level and asking, wow, this looks like a really big feeling right now. Can you tell me what's happening inside you?
That makes sense. It shifts the focus from the behavior to the underlying emotion. It tells the child, I see you. I'm here with you, and I want to understand.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to validate that feeling. Even if the reason for the feeling seems trivial to us as adults, to the child, it's very real. Saying something like, I can see you're really angry that your toy broke, shows empathy and understanding. It's not about agreeing that the situation should make them angry, but acknowledging that they are feeling angry.
So we validate, we show curiosity, and we encourage them to put a name to it. What if they don't have the words, though? Kids, especially younger ones, can struggle to articulate.
That's a great point. This is where we use visual aids and simple language. We can introduce emotion charts, like a feelings face chart or a feelings color wheel. You might say, does your feeling feel more like this red angry face or this blue sad face? Or you can offer choices. Are you feeling frustrated or are you feeling disappointed?
So, we're essentially giving them a menu of emotions to choose from, or at least to explore. This helps them connect the internal sensation to an external label.
Exactly. Think of it as providing the building blocks of their emotional language. We also want to reinforce that all feelings are okay to have. It's what we do with those feelings that matters. We can have anger, but we can't hit. We can feel sadness, but we don't have to stay in that state forever.
That distinction is so important. It's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to hurt yourself or others. That's a key message for emotional regulation.
It truly is. And the more we practice this, the more natural it becomes. When children feel heard and understood, they're more likely to come to us when they're struggling rather than acting out in ways that are harder to manage. This also builds trust.
It creates a safe space for them to explore their inner world. And you mentioned analogies earlier, Alex. Can you give us another one for why naming feelings is so powerful?
Imagine you have a confusing jumble of wires in your house, and you don't know what each one does. It's chaotic, right? You can't fix anything because you don't know where to start. Now, imagine someone comes along and labels each wire. This is for the lights, this is for the television. Suddenly, things are clearer. You can start to understand the system and make repairs.
That's a fantastic analogy. Emotions can feel like that confusing jumble of wires. When we label them, this is frustration, this is disappointment, this is excitement, we're providing the labels that make them understandable and, eventually, manageable.
Precisely. And we need to be mindful of our own language. Sometimes, as parents, we might inadvertently dismiss or minimize a child's feelings. Compliments like, "You're such a strong boy, you shouldn't cry," can send a message that sadness is bad or wrong. We want to counter that with messages that embrace the full spectrum of human emotion.
So, it's not just about teaching the child the words, but also about modeling acceptance and understanding for all emotions, including the difficult ones.
You've got it. And as they grow, their ability to identify and label emotions will become more sophisticated. From mad and sad for toddlers to disappointed, anxious, embarrassed, or joyful for older children. It's a developmental journey, and our role is to be their patient guides.
This foundation of identifying and naming emotions sets the stage for all the other tools in our emotional toolkit for kids. If they can't name it, they can't regulate it.
Exactly, Lisa. So, to recap, we've learned today that giving children the words to describe their feelings is paramount. We discussed the concepts of big and small feelings, emphasizing curiosity and non-judgment for parents. We explored how to use visual aids and offer choices when children struggle to find words. And importantly, we stressed that all feelings are okay to have, but our actions need to be guided.
It's about building that emotional vocabulary one feeling at a time, like labeling those confusing wires. It truly is the bedrock of emotional regulation.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Teach Kids Emotional Regulation. Today we're exploring a fantastic visual tool, the emotion thermometer.
The emotion thermometer. It's so straightforward because it gives feelings a tangible presence, a way for kids to see and measure their intensity.
Exactly. Imagine a thermometer, but instead of measuring temperature, it measures the intensity of an emotion. It's a visual scale that helps children understand how much of a feeling they're experiencing.
Kids often can't articulate the nuance of their feelings. The thermometer gives them that spectrum, from a little irritation to full-blown rage.
Precisely. We can think of it like this. The bottom represents feeling calm and in control. Let's call that cool. As you move up, feelings get more intense, warm, then hot, and at the very top, boiling.
So, cool might be when everything is going well, they're playing happily. It's their baseline of calm.
Right. And then warm might be a slight frustration. Maybe a toy isn't working. It's noticeable, but manageable.
If warm is noticeable, what comes after that?
After warm, we introduce hot. This is when the emotion is starting to feel overwhelming. It might be harder to think clearly, and they might be getting agitated.
And the top, the boiling point. This is when it feels all-consuming. We might see tantrums or yelling. It's that feeling of losing control.
Exactly. And it's crucial to emphasize that none of these points are bad. They are simply descriptions of how much of a feeling they are experiencing. This takes away some of the shame.
That's a really important distinction. It validates their experience without judgment. So, how do we actually create one of these thermometers?
You can find printable versions, but creating one yourself can be a really engaging activity. Use a large piece of paper or cardboard. Draw a long, vertical thermometer shape.
And then, do we color it in?
Yes, color it in sections. Start with a cool blue at the bottom for cool, then maybe a warmer yellow or orange for warm, a red for hot, and a deep, vibrant red or purple for boiling at the top.
I can picture that. It becomes a visual anchor for them.
It absolutely is. And then label each section cool, warm, hot, and boiling. You can even draw simple faces next to each level to further illustrate the feeling.
So, once we have our thermometer, how do we introduce it to our child?
The best way is during a calm moment. You can say something like, "Look what we made. This is our special emotion thermometer." It helps us understand how our feelings feel inside.
What does cool feel like in your body? That's a great way to start when you're introducing it.
Precisely. And then you can practice. When you're playing and someone else wants to play, how does that feel? Is it a little bit annoying, like warm? Or is it really frustrating, maybe hot? You're helping them connect the visual scale to their internal experience.
And this isn't just for negative emotions, is it?
Oh no, absolutely not. You can use it for excitement too. The thermometer can help them understand the range of their positive emotions as well.
That's a wonderful point. So, we have our thermometer and we've practiced using it. What's the next step?
The next step is teaching them strategies for when they are at the hot or boiling points. Once they can identify that they are high on the thermometer, they can then use this as a cue to try coping skill.
So, the thermometer itself doesn't do the calming. It's the tool that helps them realize they need to do something to calm themselves.
Exactly. Think of it as an early warning system. When they see they're moving up the thermometer, it's a signal to implement a strategy before they reach the boiling point. This is the foundation of self-regulation.
And the more we practice this, the more automatic it becomes. They'll start to self-identify without even needing us to ask. They might say, "Mom, I'm feeling hot right now. I need to go to my cozy corner."
That's the dream scenario. And it all starts with this simple visual tool. It empowers children by giving them a language and a visual representation for their internal world.
It really is a brilliant way to make the abstract concept of emotional intensity concrete for kids. So, to recap, an emotion thermometer is a visual scale that helps children understand the intensity of their feelings. We can create one at home using paper and colors, marking levels like cool, warm, hot, and boiling. It acts as an early warning system, prompting them to use coping strategies before their emotions become overwhelming.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. It's a powerful tool in our emotional toolkit, giving children a sense of awareness and control over their inner world.
It truly is. And in our next episode, we'll be exploring specific strategies to help children calm those hot and boiling feelings with breathwork.
Looking forward to it. So, for this episode, remember, visualize those feelings, make them tangible, and give your child the gift of self-awareness with an emotion thermometer. Next episode, Calming the Storm, Breathwork for Kids. Welcome back. Last time we covered visualizing feelings. Now let's tackle breathwork for kids.
Breathwork. That sounds so simple, yet incredibly effective. I can't wait to explore how we can teach our little ones to use their breath to find calm when they're feeling overwhelmed. Alex, why is breath so crucial in managing big emotions?
That's a great question, Lisa. When we experience strong emotions like anger, fear, or frustration, our bodies go into a sort of fight or flight mode. Our heart rate speeds up, our breathing becomes shallow and rapid, and our muscles tense. This physical response is part of our natural survival instinct. However, this state makes it very difficult for our brains to think clearly or process emotions constructively.
So, the intense feelings trigger a physical reaction that makes it even harder to calm down. It's a bit of a cycle.
Exactly. And this is where breath work comes in. By consciously focusing on our breath, we can actually send a signal to our brain to calm down. Taking slow, deep breaths activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our body's natural relaxation response. Think of it like gently pressing the off switch for that fight or flight alarm.
That's a fantastic way to put it, pressing the off switch. So, even young children can learn to do this? It's not just for adults?
Absolutely. Children are incredibly capable of learning these techniques, and the earlier they start, the more intuitive it becomes. The key is to make it fun, engaging, and easy to understand. We don't need to explain the complex anatomy of the nervous system to them. We can use imaginative play and simple instructions.
I love that. Let's start with a simple one. What's a good starting point for introducing breath work to kids?
A wonderful starting point is belly breathing, also known as diaphragmatic breathing. It's called this because we're encouraging the child to breathe deeply into their belly, making it rise and fall like a balloon. We can make it super visual and interactive.
How do we do that, practically?
We can ask the child to lie down comfortably, perhaps on their back. Then we ask them to place one hand on their chest and the other on their belly. We can say something like, let's pretend your belly is a balloon. When you breathe in nice and slow, like you're filling your balloon, make your belly go up. Feel your hand on your belly rise.
So they can feel the difference between their chest and their belly moving.
Precisely. And then we continue. Now, when you breathe out slowly, like you're letting the air out of the balloon, let your belly go down. Try to keep the hand on your chest really still, just letting your belly do all the work. We might even encourage them to imagine their belly is a gentle wave, rising and falling.
That's so clear. The balloon analogy is perfect for making it tangible for kids. It helps them feel where the breath is going.
It really does. And to reinforce that calm feeling, we can guide them further. After they've practiced a few belly breaths, we can say, now let's imagine your breath is like a cool, calming breeze blowing through your body, washing away any grumpy feelings. We encourage them to take slow breaths in through their nose, filling their belly, and then exhale slowly through their mouth, like they're gently blowing out a candle.
Smell the flower, blow out the candle. I've heard of that one.
That's another fantastic variation. It's very accessible. For smell the flower, blow out the candle. You ask the child to imagine they're holding a beautiful flower. They take a slow, deep inhale through their nose, smelling the flower. Then they slowly exhale through their mouth, as if they're gently blowing out a candle flame. This encourages that longer, slower exhale, which is really key for shifting into a relaxed state.
I can see how that would be so engaging. The sensory aspect of smelling a flower and the gentle action of blowing out a candle are very relatable.
And the repetition is what helps. We can do this together as parents or caregivers. Let's smell the flower and blow out the candle. We can practice it when things are calm. So it's a familiar tool when emotions start to bubble up. It's all about creating that association. When I feel upset, I could take a deep breath.
So it becomes a go-to strategy. Are there other fun ways to make breath work engaging for children?
Absolutely. We can use games. One popular one is square breathing or box breathing. It's a bit more structured. You imagine drawing a square with your breath. You breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and hold out for a count of 4.
So for counts in, for counts hold, for counts out, for counts hold. That creates a rhythm.
That's right. And you can even trace the square in the air with your finger as you do it. Or, if you have a visual aid like a square drawn on paper, you can guide them along the sides. For younger children, you might start with a count of 3. The consistent rhythm helps to slow down their racing thoughts and their body's physical responses.
It's about giving them a simple, predictable pattern to focus on.
Exactly. And another one that's very effective is dragon breath. You encourage them to take a deep belly breath in, filling their lungs, and then exhale with a strong, audible ha sound like a dragon breathing fire. This could be a great way to release pent-up energy or frustration in a safe, and contained way.
Ooh, I can imagine that being very satisfying for a child who's feeling a lot of energy or anger. The sound itself can be a release.
It really can. The key across all these techniques is to frame them as helpful tools, not as punishments or things they have to do when they're misbehaving. We want them to see breath work as their own personal superpower for managing big feelings.
That positive framing is so important. It empowers them. So, to recap, we've learned that when children and adults feel strong emotions, their bodies go into fight or flight, and deep, calm breaths can trigger the body's relaxation response. We've introduced belly breathing, encouraging them to feel their belly rise and fall like a balloon, and the fun smell the flower, blow out the candle technique for slow exhales. We also touched on the rhythmic, square breathing and the energetic dragon breath as ways to release tension.
You've got it, Lisa. These are all incredibly valuable tools. The science behind it is that slow, deep breathing encourages the parasympathetic nervous system to activate, counteracting the stress response. It's a direct line to calming the nervous system. Regular practice, even when they're not upset, builds this skill so it's readily available when they need it most.
It's like practicing a sport or a musical instrument. The more you do it, the better you become.
Precisely. And remember, consistency and patience are key. There will be times when it works like magic and times when it's a work in progress. That's perfectly normal. The goal is to equip our children with these skills so they can navigate their emotional landscapes with greater confidence and ease.
This is such powerful knowledge. Immediate regulation strategies like breathwork are game changers.
They really are. And next time, we'll be exploring how to create a physical space for calm with the Cozy Corner. Next episode, creating a safe haven, the Cozy Corner. Welcome back. Last time, we explored breathwork for calming. Now, let's create a safe haven.
That's right, Alex. We're talking about the cozy corner, or the calm down spot. It's a dedicated physical space in your home designed specifically for a child to retreat to when they're feeling overwhelmed. Think of it as a physical anchor for their emotional regulation journey.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't need to be elaborate. It's more about intention and creating a sense of personal security. So, Lisa, what are some of the key elements of a truly effective cozy corner?
First and foremost, it needs to feel inviting and safe. This means soft textures, comfortable seating, and a sense of enclosure. Think plush cushions, a soft rug, maybe even a small tent or a canopy to create a feeling of being tucked away. It's about creating a physical hug for the child.
A physical hug. I love that analogy. So, beyond the comfort, what kind of items should we encourage parents to include in this space? We've talked about using breath work, but what else can a child access when they're in their safe haven?
Great question. We want to provide tools that support self-soothing and sensory input. Things like sensory bottles, those clear bottles filled with water, glitter, and oil that create a mesmerizing visual display when shaken. Kids can focus on the slow descent of the glitter, which naturally draws their attention and calms their minds.
Oh, those are wonderful. They provide a visual distraction and encourage slow, deep breathing as the child watches. What else?
Another great addition is a weighted lap pad or a soft blanket. The gentle pressure from these items can have a very calming effect on the nervous system, similar to a hug, as you mentioned. It can help ground a child when they're feeling scattered by intense emotions.
So we're talking about tactile and visual calming tools. What about something for their hands? Sometimes kids just need something to fidget with.
Exactly. A small basket of fidget toys can be incredibly useful. Things like squishy balls, textured objects, or even a small, quiet puzzle. The key is that these items are calming, not overly stimulating. They provide an outlet for restless energy without escalating the situation.
And it's important to remember that this space isn't a punishment, right? We don't send a child to their cozy corner because they misbehaved.
That's a crucial distinction, Alex. The cozy corner is a proactive tool. It's a place the child can choose to go before they reach a breaking point or when they feel a storm brewing. We want to frame it as a place of empowerment where they can regain control.
So, how do we encourage that proactive use? How do we help children understand the purpose of this space?
We introduce it when they are calm. We can read books about safe spaces or calming down. We can role-play scenarios where they might feel overwhelmed and show them how they can choose to go to their cozy corner. It's about building that positive association from the start.
So, it's not just about setting up the physical space, but also about the ongoing conversation and modeling that we have with our children.
Precisely. And we also need to consider what not to include. We don't want to put anything in the cozy corner that could be a distraction or a source of conflict. For example, no electronics, no loud toys. The focus should be on calming and self-regulation.
That makes perfect sense. We want to create an environment that supports a child's internal process of calming down, not one that adds external stimulation. Now, what if a child resists using the cozy corner? What are some strategies for encouraging them?
Sometimes it's about persistence and patience. Reiterate the purpose of the space. You could say, "It looks like you're feeling frustrated. Remember, your cozy corner is a place where you can go to feel better." If they still refuse, don't force it. Instead, you can model going to the space yourself. "I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, so I'm going to go to my cozy spot for a few minutes."
Modeling is so powerful. When children see us using these strategies, they're more likely to adopt them themselves. So, to recap what we've discussed about creating a safe haven, it's a dedicated physical space designed for comfort and security, offering tools for self-soothing like soft textures, sensory items, and fidget toys.
And importantly, it's introduced and used as a proactive choice for emotional regulation, not as a punishment. We build positive associations by talking about it when calm and modeling its use.
This cozy corner becomes a tangible representation of a child's ability to manage their own emotions. It's a place for them to actively practice the self-soothing techniques we've discussed, like breath work, in a supportive environment.
And as children grow, their needs might change. So it's also a good idea to involve them in the process of choosing items for their cozy corner. As they get a little older, they can tell us what feels most comforting to them. This gives them a sense of ownership and agency.
That's a fantastic point, Lisa. When children have a say in their environment, they're more likely to engage with it. So, think about a quiet corner in a bedroom, a section of a playroom, or even a comfortable mat in a shared family space. The location is less important than the feeling it evokes.
It's about creating a small sanctuary where a child can feel truly safe to explore and process their feelings without judgment. A place where they can retreat, regroup, and then re-enter the world feeling more grounded.
This practice of creating a designated safe space directly supports the concept of a child's emotional toolkit. We're giving them a literal place to access and practice the tools we're teaching them.
And by providing these tangible anchors for emotional regulation, we're helping children build confidence in their ability to navigate difficult feelings. They learn that they have the power to calm themselves and that they have a safe place to do so.
This is such an empowering aspect of raising emotionally intelligent children. We've covered so much ground from understanding big feelings to breath work, and now creating a physical safe haven. It's all about equipping our children with the skills and environments they need to thrive.
Absolutely. So, we've given our listeners a lot to think about in terms of creating this physical sanctuary. It's a really concrete step that parents can take right away.
Indeed. In our next episode, we'll explore the art of emotion coaching, where we'll learn how to be our child's guide through their emotional landscapes.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back, everyone, to teach kids emotional regulation. Last time, we explored the power of creating a cozy corner. Today, we're diving into something incredibly powerful, emotion coaching. We'll learn how to be our child's guide through their emotional world.
Yes, and being your child's guide is such a perfect way to put it, Alex. It's about walking with them, helping them understand what's happening inside. Last episode, we talked about having a physical space, the cozy corner. This episode is about the interaction we have with them, whether they're in their cozy corner or anywhere else when a big emotion hits.
Exactly, Lisa. So, what exactly is emotion coaching? At its heart, it's a parenting approach where we acknowledge, understand, and guide our children through their emotions. It's about being present and supportive when your child is experiencing strong feelings, rather than dismissing them or getting upset yourself. We want to help them label their emotions and learn healthy ways to manage them.
That sounds like a complete shift from how many of us might have been raised, where strong emotions were often met with stop crying or that's not a big deal. So, emotion coaching is basically the opposite of that. It's saying, I see you're feeling something, and I'm here to help you figure it out.
Precisely. Think of it like this. A child who is sad or angry is like a ship caught in a storm. They're being tossed around and they don't know how to steer. Emotion coaching is like being the captain on deck, calmly helping them navigate through the waves. We're not the ones causing the storm, but we are there to provide the calm presence and a steady hand on the wheel.
I love that analogy. So, what are the key elements of being an emotion coach?
There are a few crucial steps. The first is to tune in and acknowledge the emotion. This means noticing what your child is feeling, even if it's not obvious. We need to really look and listen.
So, it's about observation. If a child is slumped over, not talking, withdrawn, that's a cue. Or if they're stomping their feet and their face is red, that's a cue too. It's about not ignoring the signals.
Absolutely. Once you've tuned in, the next step is to validate their feelings. This doesn't mean you agree with their behavior, but you acknowledge that their feeling is real and understandable from their perspective. Phrases like, I can see you're really frustrated right now, or it looks like you're feeling very disappointed about that.
And this is where it feels different for parents, isn't it? It's hard to say, I understand you're angry when your child has just thrown a toy. But in coaching, the focus is on the feeling, not the action at that moment.
Exactly. We are validating the emotion, not necessarily the behavior. So, I understand you're angry because your brother took your toy is very different from it's okay to hit your brother because you're angry. The latter is never true.
That distinction is so important. So, tune in, acknowledge, and validate. What's next?
The third step is to listen empathetically. Try to understand what's beneath the emotion. What is your child trying to tell you with their feelings? Are they feeling unheard, scared, left out, or overwhelmed? Sometimes just letting them talk it out without interruption is incredibly helpful.
So, we're not jumping in with solutions right away. We're just letting them.
Welcome back. Last time, we explored emotion coaching. Now, let's understand the why behind behavior.
It's true, Alex. A child's behavior is often a signal, a message from their inner world. Instead of just addressing the visible action, we need to look deeper.
Think of behavior as the tip of the iceberg. What we see, the tantrum, the defiance, is just a small part. Beneath the surface are the emotions and unmet needs driving that behavior. Our role is to explore what's hidden.
So, it's about understanding the why behind the action, not just the what. What is the child trying to communicate?
Precisely. This connects to our discussion in episode 2 about decoding big feelings. Remember how we said all feelings are valid? Behaviors are often how children express those feelings when they lack the words or skills to do so constructively.
A child who interrupts frequently might be seeking attention they aren't getting otherwise.
Exactly. And a child acting out during a lesson might be overwhelmed or confused. Their behavior is a way of saying, I need help. We can reframe that distraction as a request for support.
It's a shift from seeing a child as naughty to recognizing their behavior as a distress signal, like a smoke alarm warning of a potential problem.
Absolutely. And our emotion coaching skills become even more valuable here. In a safe, communicative environment, we can ask gentle, curious questions. I see you're very frustrated. Can you tell me more about what's bothering you?
It's about genuine curiosity and offering a listening ear, not an interrogation. Sometimes just talking it through is half the solution.
Children's unmet needs often show up as behaviors. A child refusing to go to school or becoming clingy might be expressing anxiety. They aren't being disobedient, they're showing fear.
Or a child who is withdrawn and quiet may be feeling sad or lonely. Their silence can communicate that they've learned expressing feelings leads to negative reactions, so they shut down.
That's crucial. The absence of behavior can also be a message. We focus on loud behaviors, but quiet ones can be just as significant. We need to be attuned to both.
How do we help children understand their own behavior, not just our interpretation?
It's a two-part process. First, we model understanding their behavior. Second, we help them develop self-awareness. When children connect feelings to actions, they gain self-control. We can help by reflecting on past situations. After a calm moment, ask, remember when you yelled because your brother took your toy? What were you feeling then?
And then help them make the connection. It sounds like you were angry because you felt your space wasn't respected. When you felt that strong anger, you wanted to yell.
Perfect. We're not just saying, don't yell. We're helping them understand the source of the yelling, the anger, the feeling of being wronged, and find better ways to express it. This builds resilience, which we'll discuss in episode 10.
This ties back to the emotion thermometer from episode 3. Helping them identify their feelings' intensity on the thermometer can help them understand potential behaviors. A level 7 anger feels different than a level 3 irritation.
Excellent callback, and it leads to proactive strategies. Knowing a child's triggers or unmet needs allows us to meet those needs before challenging behaviors arise. If noise is overwhelming, create a quiet zone, as we suggested in episode 5. This reduces potential issues.
To recap, a child's behavior is often a sign of their internal emotional state or unmet needs. Instead of just reacting, we must be curious about the why. By linking this to emotion coaching and fostering self-awareness, we empower them to manage feelings and express themselves constructively.
Great summary, Lisa. Remember, every behavior is communication. Learning to listen allows us to respond with empathy, guide with understanding, and help children navigate their emotional world more effectively.
It's not always easy. Sometimes we're tired and don't want to decipher complex emotions.
You're right. It takes practice, patience, and self-compassion. But the reward, a child who feels understood, expresses themselves healthily, and develops strong emotional regulation, is immense.
This episode really shifted our lens, viewing challenging behaviors as opportunities to connect and teach, not just punish.
Exactly. This understanding will be key as we discuss specific scenarios like school or sibling relationships. The root often lies in those same emotional needs.
Fantastic. So, we've decoded feelings, visualized them, learned calming techniques and safe spaces, became emotion coaches, and now we're exploring the why behind behavior.
It's all building a comprehensive emotional toolkit. Next time, we'll focus on school challenges.
Next episode, Navigating School Day Challenges.
Welcome Welcome back to Teach Kids Emotional Regulation. Today, we're tackling school day challenges.
School. It's such a big part of a child's life, and with so many new experiences and social interactions, it's bound to bring up a lot of emotions. Alex, what are some of the biggest hurdles kids face at school when it comes to managing their feelings?
That's a great question, Lisa. School presents a unique mix of pressures. We often see anxiety about academic performance, things like tests, homework, or even just understanding the material. Then there are the social dynamics, making friends, dealing with disagreements, sometimes even peer pressure or bullying. And don't forget the daily logistics, like managing transitions between classes or waiting in line. All of these can trigger big feelings.
It makes sense. They're in a structured environment, away from their primary caregivers for extended periods, and expected to perform and socialize. So, how can we as parents and caregivers help our children prepare for and cope with these school day challenges?
The key is preparation and practice, much like we've discussed in previous episodes. We want to equip them with their emotional toolkit before the challenges even arise. One of the most effective strategies is to talk about common school scenarios and how they might feel. This isn't about scaring them, but about normalizing those feelings. We can ask questions like, what might you do if you feel nervous before a spelling test? Or, how could you handle it if a friend says something unkind?
So, it's about creating a space to practice those coping mechanisms in a low stakes environment at home before they have to face them in the real time heat of a school day.
Exactly. And when we talk about specific challenges, we can link back to strategies we've already covered. For instance, if a child is anxious about a math test, we can revisit their emotion thermometer, a tool we use to help them recognize and label their feelings. We can encourage them to identify what that anxiety feels like in their body, maybe a fluttery tummy or tight shoulders. Then we can practice deep breathing, like the calming techniques we discussed, to help quell that physical sensation. We can even have them visualize themselves feeling calm and focused during the test.
That's a fantastic way to connect the dots. So, for academic stress, it's about identifying the feeling, using calming techniques, and perhaps even practicing some positive self talk, reminding them they can try their best. What about the social side of school? That can be even trickier.
The social aspect is definitely complex. One of the most powerful things we can do is help them develop empathy and perspective-taking skills. We can do this by discussing situations from different points of view. For example, if they come home upset because a friend didn't share a toy, we can explore how the friend might have been feeling or why they might have acted that way. This helps them understand that not all conflicts are personal attacks.
That's so important for building healthy relationships. So, instead of just saying, don't let them upset you, we're encouraging them to think about the situation more broadly.
Precisely. And then we can also equip them with specific social strategies. Instead of just telling them to be nice, we can give them concrete phrases. For example, if they're feeling left out during playtime, we could practice saying, "Can I play too?" Or "I can stay here and play by myself if you're busy." These simple phrases can be incredibly empowering.
I love that. It gives them tangible tools to use when they're feeling overwhelmed or unsure of how to act. And what about the idea of a safe haven, like the cozy corner we talked about? Can that be brought into the school day?
Absolutely. While a physical cozy corner might not be possible in every classroom, the concept of a safe space is transferable. We can help children identify a safe person at school, a teacher they trust, a school counselor, or even a kind classmate to go to when they're feeling overwhelmed. We can also help them develop internal safe places. We can encourage them to close their eyes for a moment and picture their bedroom, their favorite park, or any place where they feel completely calm and secure. This mental escape can be a powerful coping mechanism during a difficult moment at school.
So they can learn to create their own sense of safety even when they're not physically at home. That's a really valuable skill for independence.
It really is. And when children do have challenges at school, it's crucial that we approach their experiences with validation and without judgment when they get home. Instead of jumping to solutions, let's first listen. We can say things like, "That sounds really tough," or I can see why you're feeling upset about that. Acknowledging their feelings de-escalates the situation and makes them feel understood.
That's a great reminder. Sometimes just having their feelings heard and validated is half the battle. Then, once they're calmer, we can transition into problem solving together, using the strategies we've been practicing.
Exactly. And we can also help them understand that setbacks are a normal part of learning and growing. This is where building resilience comes in, which we'll explore more in episode 10. For now, know that helping them navigate school day challenges is about empowering them with awareness, providing them with coping tools, and offering consistent, supportive guidance.
So, to recap our chat today about navigating school day challenges, we've talked about preparing children for common school anxieties by discussing scenarios and practicing coping strategies at home. We've emphasized connecting these strategies back to what we've learned, like using the emotion thermometer and calming breathwork for academic stress. We also covered the social side, focusing on empathy, perspective taking, and social scripts. And importantly, we discussed the idea of creating a sense of safety, whether through a trusted adult at school or by developing internal coping places. Finally, we touched on the power of validation and offering support when challenges do arise.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all difficult feelings. That's impossible. It's to help our children develop the confidence and the skills to manage those feelings effectively so they can thrive, not just survive their school days.
It's all about building that emotional resilience and independence.
And that leads us perfectly into our next episode, where we'll be diving into strategies for building resilience and helping children bounce back stronger from setbacks.
Sounds like a vital topic.
Next episode, building resilience, bouncing back stronger. Welcome back to Teach Kids Emotional Regulation. Today, we're diving into sibling dynamics.
Yes, the playroom can sometimes feel more like a battlefield. Last time, we discussed navigating school day challenges. Now we're bringing those emotional regulation skills home to address sibling dynamics.
The skills we've been building, understanding emotions, communicating needs, and calming down, are crucial when kids interact with siblings. Siblings are often our first and longest lasting relationships, teaching us about sharing, conflict, and negotiation. But they can also be a major source of stress.
So, what's our main goal, Alex? How do we transform potential sibling squabbles into opportunities for growth?
Our goal is to equip parents with strategies to foster peaceful play and cooperation, helping children navigate conflict constructively. We want to empower children to manage their interactions, focusing on communication, sharing, and peaceful problem solving.
Let's start with communication. How does identifying and expressing feelings translate to sibling interactions?
Remember the emotion thermometer? Imagine using that language with siblings. If one child feels frustrated because their sibling took a toy, instead of yelling, they can learn to say, "I'm feeling frustrated because you took my building blocks without asking."
So, it's about teaching them to own their feelings and state their needs clearly, using I statements.
Precisely. This requires parental coaching. When you see a conflict brewing, prompt them, "I see two friends who both want the same toy. What could you say to your sister to let her know you're playing with it?"
That's a great way to model it, not taking sides but guiding them. And what about sharing? That's a classic sibling sticking point.
Sharing is a learned skill, tough when children are young and developing a sense of ownership. Instead of forcing it, we can encourage it. One strategy is using a timer. If two siblings want the same toy, say, "Sarah can play with the truck for 5 minutes, then it will be Ben's turn."
A timer takes the pressure off and makes it feel fair, creating a clear expectation and a predictable transition.
Exactly. And it helps them practice patience. We can also encourage shared activities. Instead of competing over individual toys, what if they work together to build a giant fort or create a story? This shifts the focus from mine to ours.
That's a wonderful shift in perspective. So, communication and sharing. What about when conflicts arise? How do we help them resolve disputes peacefully?
This is where we build on those earlier concepts of de-escalation and problem solving. When a conflict happens, the first step is often to help them calm down. Remember our calming the storm techniques? Deep breaths, a quick break in the cozy corner. These are invaluable,
Yes, we can't expect rational problem solving when emotions are high. So, calm down first, then talk.
right? Once they're calmer, we can facilitate a conversation. Gather them and say, "It looks like there's a disagreement. Let's figure this out together. What happened from your perspective?" Encourage each child to share their side without interruption.
This is where I statements are so important again. I felt hurt when you said that, or I was trying to build something and my tower fell over.
Precisely. And then you guide them towards finding a solution. Ask questions like, "What could you do differently next time?" Or, "What's a fair way for both of you to get what you need?" This teaches them conflict resolution skills that will serve them their entire lives.
It's like teaching them to be their own little mediators. And what if the problem is tattling? He hit me. No, she didn't.
Tattling is often a child's way of seeking help. We can reframe it by teaching them to solve problems themselves first. You can say, "I hear you're upset. What did you try to do to solve it on your own?" If they say nothing, encourage them to try, and then come to you if they still need help. It's about empowering them to be problem solvers before escalating.
So, we're empowering them to try and resolve it themselves, and then to communicate their frustration or what happened clearly if they need adult support.
Exactly. And remember the importance of positive reinforcement. When you see siblings playing nicely, sharing, or resolving a minor disagreement on their own, celebrate it. "I love how you two are working together on that puzzle." Or, "It was so kind of you to share your crayons."
Positive attention can be a powerful motivator, encouraging more of that behavior. It's about creating a foundation of cooperation rather than constant conflict.
And it's also about recognizing that sibling dynamics are complex. Some days will be smoother than others. Our role as parents is to be consistent with these strategies and to provide a safe, supportive environment where they can learn and grow together. We're not aiming for perfect harmony every moment, but for increasing moments of peace and connection.
So, to summarize today, Alex, we've focused on fostering peace in the playroom with strategies for sibling relationships. We've emphasized clear communication using I statements, making sharing more manageable with tools like timers and shared activities, and teaching conflict resolution by first helping children calm down, then guiding them to express their perspectives and find solutions together. We also touched on reframing tattling and the power of positive reinforcement.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. These strategies, built upon the foundation of emotional intelligence we've discussed throughout the series, can truly transform sibling interactions from a source of stress to a source of connection and learning.
It makes so much sense. These are skills that benefit the whole family.
Indeed. And next time, we'll be moving on to building resilience in our children, helping them bounce back stronger from challenges. Next episode, building resilience, bouncing back stronger. Welcome back. Last time, we explored sibling super strategies. Today, let's focus on building resilience.
Resilience. What does that mean for our children and how does it connect to the toolkit we've been building?
Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It's facing challenges and learning from them. Think of a sturdy tree in a strong wind. It bends, but it doesn't snap.
So it's not about avoiding tough times, but developing the strength to navigate them. It's developed over time, right?
Exactly. Everything we've covered understanding feelings, using the emotion thermometer, breathwork, cozy corners, emotion coaching, understanding behavior, navigating school, and sibling dynamics are building blocks for resilience.
So, when a child learns to identify frustration, they're less overwhelmed by it.
Precisely. Imagine a child struggling with a puzzle. They might feel disappointment. If they've practiced breath work, they could take deep breaths. If they know about their cozy corner, they might take a break. If they've been emotion coached, they can label their feeling. I'm feeling frustrated because this puzzle is hard.
And instead of a meltdown, they have tools. They can think, this is tough, but I can try again, ask for help, or come back to it. That's bouncing back.
That's the essence. We're teaching them that feelings are temporary and they have agency in their response. When parents encourage problem solving after a disappointment, rather than fixing everything, they're nurturing resilience. It's about allowing natural consequences and guiding them to find solutions.
It's supporting them as they learn to overcome difficulty, not shielding them from it. What about setbacks, like not making a team?
Those are tough. Understanding disappointment as a feeling, not a permanent state, is crucial. Emotion coaching helps them talk through what happened. We can help reframe their inner dialogue. Remember self-talk? It becomes valuable here.
So, instead of, I'm a terrible player, they learn. It's disappointing I didn't make the team, but I played hard and I can keep practicing. Or, it hurt when my friend said that, but maybe they were having a bad day and I can play with other friends.
Exactly. We help them develop a balanced perspective. We also foster self-efficacy, the belief in their own ability to succeed. Giving children age-appropriate responsibilities and allowing independent task completion builds this belief. Every time they handle a small challenge successfully, their emotional muscle gets stronger.
So, letting them dress themselves, help with chores, or choose their own snack contribute to their resilience.
Absolutely. They learn, I can do this. When they face something bigger, that ingrained belief in their capability is a huge asset. Strong, supportive relationships are also key. Knowing they have a parent as a safe harbor after a storm provides security. They can take risks knowing they have a fallback.
That's the safe haven concept coming back into play. It's an emotional space as well as a physical one.
You've got it. Resilience also means problem-solving skills. When a child faces a problem, we can ask, what have you tried? Or what else could you try? We guide them to find their own answers, encouraging independent thinking.
It sounds like building resilience is about empowering children, not rescuing them.
That's a perfect way to put it. It empowers them with knowledge of their emotions, skills to manage them, and confidence to face life's ups and downs. Resilient children handle stress better, adapt to change, and maintain optimism. They are less likely to be derailed by temporary setbacks.
So, to recap, resilience is bouncing back from challenges developed over time. Our emotional toolkit provides foundational skills, including identifying and managing emotions, using calming techniques, having a safe space, and being guided by emotion coaching.
And importantly, fostering self-efficacy, nurturing supportive relationships, and developing problem-solving skills all contribute to facing adversity and growing from it. It's about building inner strength, the ability to bend without breaking.
It's a lifelong skill, and giving our children these tools from an early age sets them up for success and well being.
Indeed. Next episode, we'll be putting it all together. We'll look at integrating all these tools into your family's everyday life. Welcome back. Last time, we explored how to build resilience, equipping kids with the strength to bounce back from challenges. Today, we're diving into how that inner strength is shaped by something incredibly powerful, self-talk.
Self talk, that little voice inside our heads. It's something we all have, whether we realize it or not. And for kids, it plays such a huge role in how they see themselves and how they handle things.
Exactly, Lisa. Think about it. When a child tries something new and it doesn't immediately work, what's the first thing they might say to themselves? It could be something like, I'm so bad at this, or I'll never get it. That's negative self-talk in action, and it can really stop them in their tracks.
Oh, I've seen that. My nephew, Leo, was trying to learn to ride his bike without training wheels. For a while there, every little wobble had him saying, "This is impossible. I can't do it." It was like he was convincing himself he was going to fall before he even did.
That's such a perfect example. And that negative self-talk, that inner critic, can become a really persistent voice. It can lower their confidence, make them avoid trying new things, and even impact their mood. It's like they're wearing invisible glasses that make everything seem harder or more threatening.
So, our job as parents and caregivers is to help shift that voice from a harsh critic to a supportive friend. How do we do that, Alex?
It starts with awareness. We need to help children recognize what they're saying to themselves. You can do this by gently pointing it out during everyday moments. When you hear Leo say, I'm so bad at this, you could say, Leo, I hear you saying you're finding this tough right now. What is it that feels hard? This acknowledges their feeling without validating the critical thought itself.
So, we're not saying, "No, you're not bad at it," but rather, "I hear that you're feeling like it's hard." That sounds like a way to connect with them first.
Precisely. And then we can introduce the idea of positive or constructive self-talk. This isn't about telling kids to pretend everything is perfect when it's not. It's about teaching them to speak to themselves in a way that is encouraging and helps them keep going.
Okay, so for Leo and his bike, what would be a more constructive thing he could say?
Instead of I'll never get it, he could try, this is challenging, but I'm learning, or I'm getting wobbly, but I could try to balance again. It's about focusing on the process and the effort rather than a perceived failure. We can model this for them too. If you're trying a new recipe and it doesn't turn out quite right, you might say, that wasn't exactly what I expected, but I learned what not to do next time, and I can try again.
I like that. It's about reframing. Instead of a dead end, it becomes a learning opportunity. And that's something we touched on with resilience, isn't it? This is like the internal engine for that resilience.
Absolutely. Self-talk is the engine of resilience. It fuels their ability to try again. Another powerful technique is to help them challenge those negative thoughts. When a child says, nobody likes me, we can ask them to pause and think. Is that really true? Can you think of someone who does like you? What did they say or do? This encourages them to look for evidence that contradicts their negative belief.
That's so important. It's like giving them a detective kit for their own thoughts. Instead of accepting a negative thought as fact, they can investigate it.
Exactly that. And as they get older, you can introduce more sophisticated ways to manage negative self-talk. When they're feeling really discouraged, you can work together to create positive affirmations. These are short, powerful statements that they can repeat to themselves. For example, I am brave. I can handle this. I am a good friend.
Affirmations. So, they're like little mantras?
That's a great way to put it, a mantra. And the key is repetition. The more they repeat these positive statements, the more they start to believe them. You can write them down and put them on their mirror or in their backpack so they see them throughout the day.
This all sounds very powerful. It feels like it builds on what we learned about creating a safe haven or the cozy corner, too. This self-talk work is about creating an internal safe space.
It is. It's about fostering a positive internal dialogue. And remember that emotion thermometer we talked about? We can use that here too. When a child is at a red-hot anger, their self-talk is probably going to be very negative and unhelpful. Our goal is to help them calm down so they can access that more constructive inner voice.
So, we're not necessarily tackling the self-talk when they're in the middle of a meltdown, but rather teaching these skills when they're calm, and then supporting them to use them when things get tough.
Precisely. It's like practicing a sport. You practice the moves when you're not in the game so that you can perform them when the pressure is on. And it's crucial that we model this ourselves. Children are always listening, even when we think they're not. If they hear us constantly criticizing ourselves, they'll learn to do the same.
That's a really good point, Alex. I know I sometimes catch myself saying things like, "Oh, I'm so silly for forgetting that," or "I'm so clumsy." I need to be more mindful of my own inner voice around my kids.
It's a challenge for all of us. But by making a conscious effort, we can show them what it looks like to be kind to ourselves. We can reframe our own mistakes as learning opportunities. So, to recap, today we've talked about the importance of self-talk for children. We've learned that negative self-talk can hinder confidence and effort, while positive and constructive self-talk can boost resilience and self-esteem. We've explored strategies like awareness, modeling, challenging negative thoughts, and using affirmations.
And it all ties back to building that strong internal voice that supports them through life's ups and downs. It's like giving them a coach inside their own head.
A very important coach. And this leads perfectly into our 12th and final episode, where we'll bring everything together. We'll look at how to integrate all the tools we've discussed into a comprehensive emotional toolkit for your family.
Putting it all together. I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Teach Kids Emotional Regulation. We're putting it all together with your family's emotional toolkit.
And this is the final episode of our series. It's been an incredible journey learning how to help children manage their big feelings.
It truly has, Lisa. Over the past 11 episodes, we've explored so many practical strategies. Remember when we started out just decoding those big, often confusing feelings? We talked about how important it is to name them, right?
Absolutely. Giving feelings a name, like frustrated or disappointed, is the first step to understanding them and, more importantly, to managing them. It's like shining a light on something new.
Exactly. And from there, we introduced the emotion thermometer, a fantastic visual tool. It helps kids understand the intensity of their emotions, from a little rumble to a full-blown storm. This helps them recognize when they're starting to get overwhelmed.
That thermometer is so clever. It allows them to see that a feeling isn't just on or off, but that there are levels. And when those levels start to rise, we learned about calming the storm with breath work.
Breath work. Simple, yet so effective. Techniques like belly breaths or smell the flower, blow out the candle are powerful tools for calming the nervous system in the moment. They bring us back to the present and help us regain control.
And speaking of control and safety, the cozy corner, or whatever we call it in our homes, creating a safe haven where a child can go to feel secure and regulate themselves is crucial. It's their personal calm down space.
Right? It's not a place for punishment, but a sanctuary for self-soothing. And to guide them through these moments, we delved into emotion coaching. This is where we, as parents, become our child's guide, helping them understand their feelings and develop coping strategies.
Emotion coaching is so vital because it's about being present, empathizing, and then problem solving together. It helps children understand the why behind their behavior, linking an emotion to an action.
That connection is key. We also spend time navigating school day challenges. Those moments of frustration with learning, social interactions, or just the demands of the school environment. We learn to anticipate and prepare.
And the Playroom can be quite a testing ground, can it? We discussed sibling super strategies, creating peace amidst the inevitable conflicts. Learning to share, take turns, and communicate respectfully are huge emotional skills.
They are. And building on that, we explored building resilience. This is about helping children bounce back stronger after setbacks, seeing challenges not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and grow. It's about that inner strength.
And that inner strength is so often shaped by self-talk, our inner voice. We talked about how positive self-talk can be a powerful ally for kids, transforming negative thoughts into more constructive ones.
Exactly, Lisa. When we look back at all these episodes, the common thread is empowering our children and ourselves with the ability to understand, manage, and express emotions in healthy ways. It's not about eliminating feelings, but about navigating them skillfully.
So, for our listeners, how do we really put all of this together into our daily family life? It can feel like a lot of tools in our toolbox.
That's a great question. The most important thing is consistency and practice. Emotional regulation isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing journey. Think of it like learning a sport or a musical instrument. The more you practice, the better you become.
So, it's about incorporating these little moments throughout the day, not just when a crisis hits.
Precisely. Start small. Maybe choose one tool from our toolkit to focus on this week. If you've been working on naming feelings, keep that going. If breathwork resonated, try incorporating a few deep breaths before a challenging situation, like bedtime or a difficult homework assignment.
And remember the cozy corner. Having that designated space available, even if it's not being used, sends a message of safety and support. It's a visual reminder that calm is attainable.
And emotion coaching is an everyday practice. When your child is upset, take a moment to acknowledge their feeling before jumping to solutions. Say something like, I see you're feeling really angry right now because your toy broke. That sounds frustrating.
That simple acknowledgement can make such a difference. It lets them know they're heard and understood. And for those tougher school day challenges or sibling squabbles, refer back to those strategies we discussed. Can we take a deep breath? Can we move to our cozy corner? Can we try to name what we're feeling?
Exactly. And resilience and positive self-talk go hand in hand. When a child experiences a disappointment, perhaps not getting the part they wanted in a play, help them reframe. Instead of I'm no good, coach them toward I didn't get this part this time, but I tried my best, and I'll keep practicing for the next opportunity.
It takes patience, though. I know there will be days when it feels like nothing is working.
There absolutely will be. And on those days, remember to practice self-compassion with yourself. You're learning too. And when you model that for your children, showing them that it's okay to feel frustrated, but also that you can keep trying, that's a powerful lesson in resilience.
So, it's about integrating these tools into the fabric of our family life, making emotional intelligence a natural part of our conversations and interactions. It's not an add-on, but a way of being together.
That's the perfect way to put it, Lisa. It's about building a stronger, more connected family where everyone feels equipped to handle life's ups and downs. It's about giving your children the emotional foundation they need to thrive, not just in childhood, but throughout their lives.
This series has been such a gift, Alex. It's truly empowering to know that we have these strategies to help our children navigate their emotional worlds.
I feel the same way. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding basic emotions to building resilience and fostering positive self-talk. The goal has always been to equip you with a practical, actionable emotional toolkit for your family.
And that toolkit includes recognizing feelings, using visual aids like the emotion thermometer, employing calming breath work, creating safe spaces, practicing emotion coaching, tackling specific challenges, building sibling harmony, developing resilience, and cultivating positive self-talk.
That's a fantastic summary of our journey. Remember, this is a continuous process. Keep practicing, keep talking, and keep supporting each other. You are building a foundation for lifelong emotional well-being.
Thanks for listening to the series.